Good.
Perfect.
All right. Joshua Sinclair.
Yeah, buddy.
Pleasure to meet you, sir.
Yeah, me too, man.
You have several albums. The newest one, Silicone Wine.
Yeah, so it came out right as the pandemic hit. So it came out St. Patty's Day of 2020. So it didn't really feel like it came out.
Sure.
Just kind of, there was those about 3 or 4 months of not playing any shows. And then it was just kind of like scrambling to play a few shows and stuff last year. But yeah, so it came out at that time. But yeah, thank God for digital downloads and everything else.
Yeah.
And stuff, so people could actually listen to it and hear it and stuff. So
Yeah, it was favorite song on there was Hank for sure.
Oh, right on, man. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I can tell you a quick story about how I even wrote that.
For sure.
I was sitting down to write songs for this record, and that was the first one I wrote for it. And basically, I found my old record collection, like actual vinyl and stuff.
Oh, nice.
So I'm like, oh man, this is sweet. Like I forgot about all these old records, and so I spread them all over the floor. I'm like, it'd be really cool to like write a tune based off of like some of the influences that I had growing up that I listened to. So that's basically how that song came together, and yeah, Hank. So
Yeah,
it's just all old vinyl, man.
It's just certain parts about it, just like that's like it's like some of those. I'm trying to remember exactly the lyrics, but it was like, was it Willie on the road?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
On the road again with Willie.
Yeah, I was like, that's it's perfect music for perfect scenes, and then a little gospel on the Sundays.
Yeah.
It was nice. So how many albums? You got 3?
15, like that was my 15th that came out, because I released a lot of albums with my brother back in the day as a duo called Little Mojo.
Gotcha.
I think we released about 8 or so together, and then we had a 3-piece power pop band called Hollywood Burnout. We released a couple records with that.
Gotcha.
And then, so I think this is my fifth or 6th like solo record. So
nice. So with so when did you start? Like when's your like music career like begin?
I was 10 years old, and I just wanted to learn how to play the guitar. And I talked to my folks about it, and I'm a lefty, so
that makes it.
Yeah, so this was back in the day when like left-handed guitars were like twice as much, and I'm 10 years old, and they didn't think I'd stick with it because I was into something different all the time. So they're like, well, okay, like we'll do this, and you can take lessons and everything, but let's just get a right-handed guitar, seeing if I'll stick with it and stuff. And it ended up being like a strong suit because I mean my left hand's my dominant hand. It's a hand that's on my fretboard and stuff. So yeah, I mean I couldn't imagine playing it like the other way around and stuff.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that was my start. I took lessons over at Ye Olde Guitar Shop in West Des Moines for about 6 years or so, and had a great teacher. He taught me the stuff I wanted to learn. Like I was big in Metallica and just all like the old riffage and stuff back then. So it was like technically like just perfect. It was awesome.
Awesome. So hard rock influence a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was a big Hendrix fan, Zeppelin fan. I loved like 80s rock, like Cinderella, and I mean, just a ton of different things and stuff. And I feel like that still plays into the songs that I decide like to either cover or the songs that I write, because it's not just all one genre. I mean, I do a lot of country, do a lot of rock, do a lot of whatever and stuff, and I can mesh them all together and everything. So it's hard, like when people ask me, well, what do you do? I'm like, a little bit of everything, like if you don't like this, you might like that. So
yeah. I'm not a huge country fan. And I actually pulled you up on Amazon and as I was driving and just put it on random and just let it play. And the first one that played was Hank, and then the next one was probably my second favorite because it just put a grin on my face. Was My Doll and Whiskey.
Oh, yeah,
I was like, and I could hear the country and the rock. And I was like, okay, we got multiple influences here. But yeah, that one was kind of a funny song.
Yeah, there's a story for that too.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a story for everything that I write and stuff. I always feel like that. As long as I can keep being inspired by things, I'll keep writing, I'll keep doing this. And it was hard, like I said, when that album came out and everything shut down, everybody's like, oh, you should just go write an album. And I'm like, I just did, I'm tapped. Like seriously, like I didn't have the inspiration right then. But now it's like, it's a constant kind of like, you're working a muscle and stuff. So I'm constantly writing. I have like a bunch of new songs and stuff. And so yeah, I mean, as long as I have something to say, I'll keep saying it, and we'll see where it goes, see if people listen to it.
Nice. What's the most I guess your favorite song that you personally wrote? Like the one you sit there and go, yeah, that was me.
I mean, my normal answer is the next one. Like that's usually what I say, because I get super excited every time I write a song. just, I don't know, it just feels like you can do anything. Like you feel super creative, and so I always say the next one. But I don't know. There's been a lot of songs along the way that they've opened up a lot of doors. Like one of the first songs I wrote with my brother, a tune called Circles, and we wrote it back in I think 2000. It ended up like being like the catalyst for getting signed to a bunch of record deals out in New York City, and we were toured all over the United States. We were on like TV and film and everything else, and so I mean, there's songs like that I don't necessarily know if they're like my favorite songs, but like they open up a lot of doors and stuff.
Sure,
but
sure.
Again, I'll just go with like the next one and stuff. You know, like that's just what I'll say. I mean, just because as long as I can be prolific in songwriting and still be inspired, like I said. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there are sometimes I'm like, oh man, yeah, I did write that. You know, because sometimes I don't listen to the records for a long time because like when you're in the process of recording, mixing, mastering, and stuff, you're hearing it over and over, and by the time it comes out, you're just so damn tired of hearing those things. So,
I imagine.
So sometimes when I'm on the road, although I don't have a CD player now, like in my car, I'll just pop on like Spotify and stuff and listen. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did okay on that one and stuff. So.
Well, yeah. Is that weird? Like, do you ever pull up and hear somebody else listening to your music?
It's happened a few times. Hearing it like on the radio and stuff too, occasionally, and like that's still surreal to me. Like that's still like really cool just to I don't know. I mean, just to be played on the radio. It's always a dream of mine to have a song on the radio, and then like when that happens, it's just like, oh man, that's crazy. So no, I take it as a compliment. Like it's almost embarrassing sometimes and stuff too if I walk in a room or if I go to a party and they're playing like a song because they know I'm coming or something.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's great,
Making it awkward.
Yeah, right, yeah. But it's all good, man.
Awesome. So you had started off with your brother, then you had another side band. So how far back does this go? You said 15 albums.
Yeah.
You don't look old enough to have 15 albums.
I'm 43 years old. Born in 1977.
Nice.
Yeah, I think we started releasing albums in 1998, and the first album was a cassette tape, and then just CDs after that. We did a bunch of independent stuff, just all on our own. We started putting together tours. Like our first national tour was in 2001. It was a coast-to-coast kind of thing, 3 months just during the summer. I think we got 35 dates in like all major cities, and that was like back before the internet was like super prevalent. So sent out just a ton of like these press kits that had the CDs and like info about us and stuff, and I think it sent out about 150 or so, and got 35 dates, and so that was like it kind of reaffirmed to me like, okay, we can do this, we can actually like do this. And I mean, obviously some places are going to be better than others and stuff. A lot of it was like festival shows because you knew you'd have like kind of like a built-in crowd, where again the internet was not a prevalent thing back then, so people couldn't just like look you up and hear you and come out. So it was a lot of like creating word of mouth. But yeah, and then we released a few records with the labels that we signed with, and there was a couple that like we worked so hard on, and then they got shelved by the labels because they didn't want to put them out because they didn't have the backing behind it that they wanted to and stuff. So I mean, those were kind of heartbreaking. But then you have like 8 years, I think, and then we were able to release those masters and stuff. I think in 2016, awesome. So people actually got to hear them and stuff. But
so you got to go through the days when the record labels were like they owned like everything. They ran the show, but now there's a lot of independent artists nowadays. Like
and I mean, you can totally like. I think the biggest thing is that you can do it. Like you can do it on your own. You don't need label support to get out there and like contact.
Just need a
clubs.
webcam, a mic, and an instrument.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Maybe do a good video and stuff. Like I have a really cool guy that's he's a local musician, Zach Van Doren. He shot a bunch of music videos for me. He's amazing, and it creates that brand of like it's not just like cheap videos. It's super professional and stuff, and it gives people like an idea into like what you're doing and what you're about and everything. So I mean, those have helped a lot. But yeah, it's just all about like branding like what you're doing and getting out there and just doing it.
Nice. As far as like all your songs have a story behind them. Mm-hmm. Do you compile those into like a story in the album? I know sometimes albums have more of a theme to it.
Conceptually, like I know what you're saying, and like I like there to be continuity and stuff with an album, even though with an album, it's hard. Like, people don't listen to full albums anymore. It's not like the same, you know, it's like, it's basically like all about the song and stuff. So, personally, yeah, I like there to be continuity, and I like to kind of like have it follow like a path. So, so yeah, if you get an album, like listen to the whole album, because I created like a path for you and stuff. But yeah, but then again, like I release a lot of singles and stuff too. Again, you know, it's based on the fact that I know that it's a song-driven business, and you know, people just want to hear that next tune and stuff. So.
Yeah, you got to have that one catchy one in there to keep them hooked.
Yeah, I just released a couple singles Easter weekend, and then wrote another one, and then another one, and so it just kind of releasing singles. I think that probably do a full album like next year sometime and stuff.
Gotcha.
So.
Can't be easy being on the road though.
I mean, I'll never complain again. Like after
Really?
last year, like
Yeah,
I
I suppose.
I love it, man. I absolutely love it. Like it's fun to be in a different place, you know, every night or every other night, and meet new people, see new places. I try and immerse myself like in the towns and cities that I go to, so I can like, instead of just going and playing a show, I want to like check out, you know, where I'm going, and you know, go have, you know, lunch or dinner at like a local place, you know, check out some of like the thrift stores or whatever and stuff, you know, just kind of check that out. So, I mean, I love it. Like there are times, like, especially when I'm traveling by myself, like it gets lonely, you know, but there's nothing I'd rather be doing, man. I love it.
So, experiences in Norwalk, you play much here?
You know, I'm trying to think. Well, Carpet Winery,
Gotcha.
Played there last year, and then I have a couple shows there with my brother.
Nice.
I think June 23rd will be there, and then another time in September. I think like September 15th, I believe. So a couple times there. But you can find all that information. It's on my website, joshuasinclair.com.
Gotcha.
It has like everything is always updated and stuff. But
We'll put all the links up and all that.
There you
good
go,
stuff
man.
too,
Absolutely,
but,
man.
So mentioned influences of rock,
Mm-hmm.
and you know I liked Hank because it kind of had that sentimental value, but there wasn't a whole lot of rock in there. I think
Right.
you brought up Morrison, but that was
Yeah, I was a big Doors fan back in the day,
Yeah.
man. I love the Doors.
favorite rock band and why?
Man, that's tough. But I mean, Led Zeppelin, probably just because I was getting into guitar about the time that I was listening to them, and they just, as far as like riffs and chops and just, I don't know, just everything about it was rock, and it was big, and just, you just felt like a rock star when you, like, I would play along like with these songs and stuff, and it just, I don't know, everything about them, they were just the most amazing rock band that I had ever heard at that point in my life.
They were
and
timeless.
Yeah, exactly. And Hendrix was another one too that, I was talking to my girlfriend the other day. I'm like, yeah, that is like, you know, if there was one guitar player that I think is like, has changed like the creative landscape forever, it was him. There was just nothing that he couldn't do, and it wasn't just about like technically like being great. He created things that were never created before, like just his creativity and stuff, the way he played is just like, man, like he was on another level, like totally, like not just, like I said, not just technique, but with everything. It was just cool.
Ever get to work with anybody that's kind of on that level?
I mean, I've never been like starstruck at all. I was out in a studio with my brother for a few years out in New York called SIR Studios, and kind of became like decent friends with Hanson out there. And
Gotcha.
we were always, since we were a brother band, like, and they were a brother band, it was like, you know, just, they were super cool dudes. And so that was probably like the one time I was starstruck. And we didn't work with them. We were just in the same studios and stuff, so we'd see each other.
They
and
were probably
everything.
huge then.
Well, this was like 2006, 2007 or so. So like they had just gotten dropped by their label, and we were just trying to get signed by a major. We were doing some showcases for Universal at the time, and I remember them telling us, they're like, you know, just do it on your own, man. Just like don't go through all the hassle of that stuff and everything. But it was easy I think for them to come from that, because they already had branded themselves as like Hanson. They were all over the world and stuff. People knew who they were.
They can just say their name and everybody's like, oh yeah, I know.
And they might have thought like just mbop, but like if you like, they've continually like released music over the years, and it's just it's awesome stuff. But yeah, they were super like just cool, chill dudes. And but I'm trying to think, like, I don't know. Our first producer was a guy named Chris Hauer, and he produced the Baha Men. What's that one song? Who Let the Dogs Out.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was like,
Another.
I mean, and everybody's like,
It's played at every wedding forever now.
I'm like, they're like, are you sure that you want to say that like that was your first producer? Because it was like kind of cheesy after that and stuff. But I don't know, got to work with a lot of cool producers over the years. That just people along the way, man. It's been really cool.
Awesome. I know we'll post it all, but you're going on like a 6-day run. Is that what?
Yeah. So I'll be gone for 6 days, back for 2, and then gone for 3. And then it's just constant like this whole summer into the fall. I think I'm booked solid into November. And then I'm doing a run down to like Oklahoma, Texas, Nashville in July.
Nice.
For about a week and a half. And I'm doing some shows with a good friend of mine that used to live up here in Des Moines, Nate Nelson. He lives down in the Houston area now, so we're doing some shows down there. But yeah, man, I just, this year, like, with everything that happened last year, I have so many relationships and friends and everybody in the industry and musicians around the country. I'm like, for years they've been saying, like, come out, let's play some shows, or let's go out and do this. Hey, you can crash on my couch or whatever and stuff. So, like, I finally started utilizing those relationships again. I'm like, I'm just going to do it. Like, I really miss, like, being out there and doing this. And that's the only way to, like, really progress and grow, I think, too. It's like, I love playing around Iowa, but at the same time, I love to get out and, like, meet new people. And then it gives me the more options to be able to go back to those areas and maybe expand that radius and stuff too.
No, that's probably, yeah. It's interesting the things that COVID caused us to rethink and go back and go, shit, maybe I should play this different.
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, it's like, I felt like we lost a year, and I just didn't want to feel like that again. I pinch myself every single time now, like playing a show. I'm just super excited just to be able to do it, and I feel like it's kind of like the best of both worlds because people want to go out and see music again. They want to get out there and like just kind of everybody missed that, and musicians want to play, and it's just like everything's coming together, and we're also appreciative of each other and stuff. So it's cool.
Nice. So in the during the pandemic, knowing all these guys that same experience as you, kind of shut down, not able to go out and play and do any gigs. How many unfortunately are just done, walked away from it, had to go do something else, or couldn't make ends meet through the whole thing?
I mean, nobody that I really know personally. I know it was hard. I know it was hard on most everybody. So you just had to kind of find ways to make ends meet. Like I sold a lot of stuff on eBay. Like I did some live streams, and the live streams weren't the same. I mean, it's just so impersonable. Even though you have like comments and real time things, it's just not that like instant reaction with people.
What was that like? First time doing a live stream, and were you like trying to chat with the comments? Or
I mean, it was hard. When I would do them on my own, I'm just like, it was, if it would cut out, I'm like, well, I don't know. How would I know if it was going to cut out and stuff, and so I did a few
people commenting, turn it up, I can't hear you.
Oh, the sound's crappy, or like, oh, it's bad connection, and it wasn't the easiest thing, and again, like I said, it just felt like very impersonable, just because you didn't have that real time reaction. It's like you have to go through and take that time to go through the comments and see what people want to hear, see what they say, and there was a couple that I did like with Sumner Studios down in Creston. A good friend of mine, Dustin Baird, runs that studio, and he had like an amazing like live stream setup and everything. So that was cool because that took the the pressure off of me, making sure, okay, like I'm trying to play and like do this, and
you don't have to worry
you're just
about
making sure
all
it's all good and stuff.
You just do your thing.
Exactly. But yeah, man, it was different, but it was just trying to roll with the times and just trying to at least stay relevant or like maintain relevancy and stuff.
Yeah. That was probably, there was so much going on in the last year to keep you distracted. Yeah. I think that's the most important part about music in general is the distraction from life.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I think that's probably, there's I'm gonna shit on my brother real quick. He is Lynn. Yes, I know you're listening. He's very picky when it comes to music. He's picky with everything. And I'm more open. I'll listen to anything if it's got a good story to it, good rhythm, good beat, and it sounds cool. Like I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
He won't. Like he will rip apart any song if it's not mastodon or something. It's like he is death metal to the core.
Right on, man.
But when I do sit down, and he's like, this is real music, and then I actually like have to sit there like, then I'm like, okay, yeah, I see why you like this more.
Yeah.
I do. Then through like, to me, it makes me curious. Like, and I need to ask my brother more about this, but like, people got to open up more during that last year when it comes to some of those, whether it be a music preference or a movie preference or just entertainment preference at all, because there wasn't anything.
Yeah,
like it was a hard time to be stubborn and stuck in your ways with anything like that.
Yeah,
you know
and you were like waiting for better content on Netflix and everything else. And stuff,
it got worse.
Just like, oh man, come on, and I think that the silver lining of that was like maybe reconnecting with people that you were close to and stuff. Like, I know that like. It was hard to kind of, okay, what are we going to do? You're nowhere to really go. It was like just trying to find things to entertain yourself. And it's, it's definitely, I know there were people, friends of mine and stuff, that were just like, thank God that everything's open again. You're like, it felt like the walls were closing in and stuff. And, I think I was at that point a little bit, but at the same time, I was like just super appreciative to be able to like maybe reconnect those bonds with family and friends and girlfriend and just everything. I mean, it's like and now that we're on the other side of it, I kind of miss like the slower pace sometimes and stuff because it's just go because you're trying to maybe make up for lost time, but at the same time it's like I tried to live in those moments and just be appreciative of having those moments, even though it was a hard time for everybody.
Yeah. What was it like first show you're allowed to get back out on stage?
It was I mean, I don't know if it was scary. It was just I felt super rusty even though I knew I wasn't rusty. I felt rusty in the sense of being able to connect with an audience again, like in person. Because for so long, especially like doing those live streams, it's just so you're not like dealing with that immediate reaction and stuff. So I felt rusty. I felt just still nervous because there wasn't a vaccine at the time, and it was just like I couldn't not say no to start getting out there because I didn't want to be maybe like, oh well, he doesn't want to play because he's still worried about everything and stuff. So I didn't feel forced, but at the same time I just felt like I want to get back out there, but you're nervous, like, to get back out and, like, do something.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, it's, after a few shows, though, it's, it started feeling normal again. Right. And now it's just like, man, this is great. Like I said, it just...
It's got to be a weird pressure as an entertainer, songwriter of, like... Because the spotlight's always on, and it's a brand, and it's an image, and, like, one really bad choice is all it takes, or not even a bad choice. You've seen some people just make a just innocuous choice, and lives are turned upside down for it. So, what do you think about that at all, or you just
I mean, I'm aware of it. Like I feel like that I'm super aware of what's going on in the world. I know my beliefs, and but like when I go out to play, like we were just talking about, like with music. For me, it's a way to connect with people and let them have a good time. Like that's why I'm there. I want to entertain. I want you to have fun. I want to have fun. That's kind of the bottom line for me. Like there's substance in a lot of the stuff that I write, especially to me. I know music's open for interpretation, which is great. But at the same time, at the core of it, I want people to have fun. I want them to leave with a smile on their face. I want us to have that connection. So that's all it is for me, man.
That's what it should be. Yeah. No, that's good. I imagine trying to having anything like that hang over your head would just take away from the experience, not only for you, but for anybody listening or sitting out in the crowd. Yeah. Favorite venue?
Like around Iowa?
Just in general. What was your best concert?
Man, this place used to play in upstate New York. It was like a big music festival, and my brother and I played it for a few years. And then they asked us to headline a couple years, and that was it was surreal and awesome. Nice. Like, because we were super fans of like New York anyway. And then to be able to play like upstate, it was not too far away from like Woodstock and everything. So that was really cool, just because you felt like just on top of the world. I don't know, man. I've had so many like just super fun shows and cool venues. Yeah, I don't know. It's too hard to say. I mean, I always used to love like playing down at Simon Estes Amphitheater. Like I've done some shows down there, open for some bigger names, and that's a cool venue. I don't know if they're really utilizing that right now because they have Brenton Skating Arena and stuff too that they're using. But yeah, I mean, there's some really cool spots around Iowa, especially.
Awesome. Most, I guess, I don't know, the biggest name you open for, the bragging rights that, hey, like,
well,
I kicked this one off.
The first tour that I ever did with somebody was Coolio.
Really?
The rapper. It was a college snowboarding tour that was going to like Aspen and Park City and like all over to these places. So we were on the bill with Coolio. So that was cool. Like he was a really cool guy in person.
Yeah.
Like on stage, he's still like he maintained that persona of like
sure.
being hard and stuff. But he's super sweet dude. I'm trying to think like who else. I mean, did a show with the Bodines. Need to Breathe. Gosh, so many. I need to go back and look at my bio to see like all the folks that I've opened up for. But yeah, it's gosh, I can't remember now, and I know there's like some other really good ones. Yeah, I mean, Blind Melon was one that was really cool. And that was after Shannon Hoon had passed away. But they were like a huge influence on me in high school and everything. Yeah. And the singer that they got to replace him, it was so weird, like seeing him sing because he sounded just like him, he looked just like him. All the original band was still with him. That was crazy. That was pretty cool. Yeah, just a lot of them, man.
It's crazy how sometimes I didn't think it was as close, but like when Alice in Chains finally came back, I was like, I could hear it. I was like, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah,
like it was.
And it's hard because like I understand it as a band, and you've had like so many songs, and you're so relevant with so many people that it's hard to just be like, okay, we're not going to do this because we don't have that. Like you still want to like be able to try and find some way to make it happen for the people that are nostalgic for that,
right.
And yeah, it's a hard thing. And he didn't. So like that lead singer that replaced Shannon Hoon, like he did not hang out afterwards. Like I think it was just because that was like he was there for the show and then he was gone.
It got to be awkward.
Probably didn't want to be asked questions or whatever. Probably same questions all the time. Like, hey man, what's it like to replace? Same thing. So yeah, that'd
be a rough gig.
Yeah. But yeah, they were cool though, man. They were cool.
Nice. That's crazy. So you were gonna play?
Yeah, man.
Did you have anything in mind that you were going after?
So I had a couple new songs that I'll do one of them for you here. It's a tune I wrote a few years ago, and it kind of like is a ballad or something. And I didn't play it out live very much just because it was kind of boring to play. So I kind of turned it into like this honky tonk kind of like fun party song and stuff. So yeah, it's a little something called "I Love You More Than Beer." So try it out here.
Sounds good.
All right. Why don't you put on some makeup before we go out? The house, stop the truck, if you like a house, then we'll paint this town red like when we were 18. Yeah, we'll stay out all night, sleep till 3, sing every song on karaoke. When it's time to go, babe, I hope you leave with me. Then I kiss you like it was the very first time. Hold you so close and that guy that you're mine, I swear I love you more than beer. Yeah, you can give it tequila if you want us to fight. Let's strip and go naked with an added light. But I give it all love if I had to choose. Yeah, the sun's gonna rise and yesterday's gone. When I look in your eyes, I wanna hold on to getting the buzz, yeah, baby, getting on you. Then I kiss you like it was the very first time. Hold you so close and thank God that you're mine, I swear I love you more than beer. And I love you more than Busch Light or a cold PBR. Yeah, and all you can drink night at my favorite bar. Yeah, Yeah, the Keystone Light always does the trick. It gets me drunk, but it makes me sick. I don't care. I love you more than beer. Why don't you take off your makeup before we make out? We don't need a bed, we'll sleep on the couch. We'll talk all night like when we were 18. Not a care in the world, just a wild and free. Yeah, the sun's gonna shine. You wait and see, I'll drink you in bed, and you get drunk on me. And then I kiss you like it was the very first time. Hold you so close and think I'll let you mine. I swear I love you more than beer. Yeah, I swear I love you more than beer. Ooh, I swear, yeah, I love you more than beer.
Nice. That was pretty badass.
Right on, man. Thank you.
I like that. That was good.
Thanks.
So you originally had that more of as a ballad?
Yeah, it was super slow. Yeah, it wasn't fun to play live, and like that's kind of the way that I approach a lot of the songs that I write. Is like, how's this gonna come off when I play it live? Like, I want it to be most of the stuff that I do. I want it to be like upbeat and fun. And
Sure.
I got into a thing called live looping about 6 years ago or so, and basically it's a loop pedal that you have down by your feet. You tap and it'll record like phrases and stuff. So like,
Sure.
It could be chords, it could be rhythm, notes, whatever. And so like I got into that, and so it helps me incorporate kind of like this dynamic, kind of like almost like a one-man band kind of feel, because I have guitar going, I play mandolin, harmonica, percussion, all this stuff that makes it sound more like the album and stuff. So again, it's just like I want the songs to be fun and people to have fun with it. So there are like a few ballad songs that I'll write, just if I feel like it fits the album. And I used to write like a ton of those back in the day. But again, like being like a rock guy at heart, like I want to go out and have a good time and let people have a good time and stuff too with what they hear.
Nice. Yeah, there's actually, it's funny, during the pandemic, there's a Mark Rebellet, I think, on YouTube, but that's all he does. He's got one of those,
like loop stations, loop pedal things, yeah.
And he'll just like do little maracas, and he'll come over to a piano, and he'll jump around to 15 but he just does the most ridiculous and nastiest songs there can be. It's hilarious to watch him.
I'll have to check him out, man. That's
fun. But sometimes he's got some but he's pretty good with it. He'll just do live streams and be like, all right, guys, he'll be in his robe and just wearing underwear underneath, like just being ridiculous.
That's awesome, man.
He gets a lot of people watching, but he's made some pretty funny ones.
That's cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I mean, I love the ability to be able to do that, and it was like there's a learning curve to it. Like I broke my knee in 2015, and I couldn't walk for a few months, and I always wanted to incorporate this into like my solo shows. So I'm like, well, I'm just gonna take this time and learn that, and you'll still have like your flubs along the way, but you always. I remember like when I first started learning how to do a loop pedal, it was like you always have to know how to get out of it if you mess up and stuff, time wise. And it's fun. It's super fun, man.
I imagine it's all about timing with that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
It's got to be perfect.
Can't be wasted in doing it,
Gotta
find that balance, have a good time, but
Yeah. Favorite whiskey, beer?
Man, I tried to get into whiskeys and bourbons and stuff, and I have a couple brothers who. They're like super big into it. I drank too much of that like in high school and college and got drunk on like Evan Williams and stuff that was like
you wasted it all.
Yeah, so I just like when I smelled it, I was like, oh man, I can't do this. I'm a big fan of like craft beer, like IPAs.
Nice.
I like that, and I felt like that was like an acquired taste over the years because I used to not like that at all. But now it's like, all right. I enjoy that. Most of my shows, if I have a drink, like I'll drink like Busch Light or Coors Light or something like I call it like pace car beer. So like I'm not like for 3 hours later like wasted trying to finish a set or something. So but yeah, I do love craft beer, man, for sure.
Nice. And So, like I said, had the 6 days. Biggest show this year. You said you're doing like trips to Houston and in some other cities.
Yeah,
any of them big?
Well, I'm doing a show this Saturday up at Black Hawk Lake with the Pork Tornadoes. That should be pretty cool. It's at a place called Stone Pier, and it's like a huge concert series. They do, I think, 4 concerts a year. And it was supposed to happen last year. Again, it got pushed like a year later, but it's supposed to be beautiful weather this Saturday, so that's gonna be
warm.
It's gonna be a huge show because it's right there on the lake. They have the stage right there. People can bring their boats and float up right there, and there's a huge
That'd be cool.
section for people to hang out. So yeah, that's gonna be a really big one. Iowa State Fair is always like really big. I've had a couple shows out there. Kicking off the Iowa Craft Beer Tent out there on the 12th, the first night of the fair. They have like a brand new craft beer tent that they put together and stuff for that, so that's gonna be neat. Without looking at my schedule, I mean, there's a ton of like really cool shows this year that I'm really thankful to be a part of. So
I bet people were booking up quick.
They were. It was kind of weird. Usually, I have a pretty good idea by the end of January, like what my next like 6, 7, 8 months are going to look like. And it seemed like it was a little bit later because I think people were waiting for the vaccines to roll out and see like what other cities were going to do and everything as far as like gatherings and live music. So by the end of March, like that was when like my schedule was just like, man, I have like no weekends full or open. Now it's like, a lot of places are doing like music on Tuesdays, some Wednesdays, Thursdays, obviously, and then Sundays. So it's like the only day that I don't really have a show is a Monday. I think that, people are like, venues included, are scrambling to like, people want to go out and see live music and be entertained. So I think they're trying to make it work and, in every day of the week pretty much.
People want to get out.
Yeah,
people
man.
Want, been locked up too long. Dude. It's time.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, hey man, we can wrap this up. I know you got to get going here pretty soon. So man. I appreciate having you on.
I appreciate you
would love to
me.
do it again sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe if we can get a longer one, I'll make sure we try to book a trip to one of your shows. My wife needs to get out of the house.
Cool. Well, like I said, Carper Winery here in Norwalk on June 23rd. It's a Wednesday, 5 to 8 p.m. and it's free to come out there. They always have food trucks and they've got great craft beer and obviously like their wine and everything too. So
Right on. That's right around my birthday. There we go. I'll just
man.
make the wife go.
Well, I'll make sure I sing you happy birthday then.
Yeah. No, I won't tell you that.
Too late, man.
Yeah. All right, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in, folks.